the winter meetings. I am not going to the winter meetings for the first time in a long time. Usually we've done a show where we go a little bit behind the scenes, where they give us a little bit of the discussion without naming names of who they're talking to. Generally, you can piece it together if you're a Cardinal fan who happen to be very knowledgeable Cardinal fans. So this year we're not doing it because the access we got last time wasn't great, and the Cardinals generally make a move that we're not there for anyway, like it happens after or whatever. So they decided not to go. But I did want to paint the picture, then we can morph into what the Cardinals may or may not do again, because people like talking about it. But at the winter meetings, Charlie, did you ever go?
I have never been.
Okay. You have a giant room with hundreds of ball writers from around the country. And everyone, if you're like affiliated with each team, like these writers are, covering this team or that team, your PR guy from your team says, hey, the GM will be available at this time. And then you're going around pretty much doing nothing. Like we would interview other writers, other executives to do little side notes. Sometimes there's a Cardinal there that shows up and you interview them. Or if former Cardinals involved in the Hall of Fame vote, you'd cover that. But for the most part, you're in this giant room. Giant. And you're just waiting to see what Morosi texts. That's how it happens. So you got Rosenthal, Morosi, or Heyman. And those are the three that break.
Passing.
So you got three
so you're
or
waiting
four,
for them to tweet something out.
Right. And that's what. So you got 250 people that are sitting there because what has happened now is that the agents usually break the news and they go to 4 national guys to break it. So you have all these local writers waiting to see what these guys
Sounds like a nightmare.
So you're in there and people are like, oh, it's in San Diego. It's fun. You don't go anywhere because you're in this room. You leave to go to Mo's suite. You go to interview somebody, whatever. But you're in this room. You don't go outside. You're not by the pool. And that goes for all the writers. So it's not that much fun. And then the one year before COVID hit, I like to say that I was the first super spreader because I had COVID.
Nice.
I believe unintentionally, of course. I got on the plane and we had
Were you in Wuhan?
No, but that's when you heard the horror stories, but no one thought it was coming here. And I was sick for a month. I was there. It
rocked you.
Like all the symptoms. Couldn't breathe, coughing nonstop. Felt like I couldn't get out of bed, but I did anyway. Mm-hmm. Went to the doctor when I got home 3 different times. One night, my wife called an ambulance. I didn't get in it. And they said it was chronic bronchitis because they didn't know. They didn't know.
Question.
Yeah.
Only because I'm interested. If you call the ambulance and you don't go, do you still have to pay for it?
I think so.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say Charlie probably.
I was just interested.
I
wasn't trying to interrupt.
I don't know.
No, it's cute. No, that's a good question.
I don't think they charged us.
Okay.
I think they were happy to see that I was alive.
Yeah.
But they said, you got to go see a doctor tomorrow. We're going to take you in. So I'll go see the doctor again because I was having trouble breathing. It scared my wife.
Yeah.
But I had it for a month. Like everything. I didn't lose my taste or smell, but everything else. And the doctors, and they did tests for everything. I mean, blood work, everything. And they were like, well, we think it's chronic bronchitis. I knew it wasn't that. They just had to give me something.
Yeah.
And then eventually it got better, and then news broke. And
you're like,
Yeah, I was there. I was there in a room full of hundreds of writers. Because no one knew what it was.
Why wouldn't you go by the pool, get a cocktail, and scroll Twitter and wait for one of them guys to tweet something out and then get dressed and go in there like, what's up?
Because part of the thing is you have to walk we had to fill a show. So I'd walk the hall looking for, a former Cardinal or a team executive from another team
I see what you're saying.
that the Cardinals were in talks with, and you grab a quick interview. So, I mean, you're walking around, at least for my job. But for the writers, I think a lot of it was kind of waiting for the shoe to drop.
So was anything supposed to go down today? Or what time's that today?
I think everyone's on high alert at all times.
Yeah.
Like at some point, Contreras will sign, or the A's
someone will get the ball going.
Murphy. I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to shake out. But to me, this is also a fun time of the year because you get to figure out what you'd like to see, what fans like to see, and what actually transpires.
And I would bet that because Jacob deGrom signed a big ticket, 5 years, 185 schmil, so $37 million AAV, and he's 34 years old. I bet you Verlander's the next big guy because deGrom kind of reset that market, and Verlander's not going to get a 5-year deal, but maybe he gets 2 with an option.
How old is deGrom?
deGrom is 34 and a half. I think Verlander's about 39.
What'd he sign for?
deGrom got 4
185.
years, right? 4 years. Like we were talking.
He got 5 years.
So we were talking 2 years the other day, which is always you never know. Like you would think 2 years, injuries, overpay him for 2, not going to happen. Verlander is older, probably going to if the Cardinals could get that guy and say we're putting him at the front of the rotation, we got him for 2 years, I'd be okay with that. But I think it's going to take more than probably 3 years.
What's he going to ask for?
But there's no chance the Cardinals sign Justin Verlander. No chance.
Why? Because they don't want to spend that money. And they already have started.
He's gonna get close. His goal, now he may not get it, but his goal will be to beat the Max Scherzer AAV of $43.3 million. And if you notice deGrom, he got a little bit higher than Garrett Cole did annually. Now you're not going to get a higher AAV because Max Scherzer's deal is only 3 years. But I think Verlander will push to get that Max Scherzer AAV. I think he'll get north of $40 million.
Is it worth it
per year? I think it's worth it.
2 years? Yeah, I agree.
He'll get 2 with an option. That's what I would guess.
Now you knock off $10 million a year because you say, look, you can play in front of the greatest fans in baseball.
We have Toaster.
So that'll knock $20 million off the contract. And then Mo said the other day when he was asked about starting pitching, we have 6 starters. And I think they're going to bring Quintana back, and I'd be fine if that's their rotation. You got a bunch of guys, throw them out there, see who your rotation is. But I'm saying a bat. They need a bat.
Why'd deGrom go to Rangers? Why'd he pick
because they gave him 5 years?
No one else offered him anything close to that?
Dude, he has pitched 150 innings the last 2 years.
Yeah.
That is nothing.
Ooh, man.
Nothing. That is nothing.
Are they any good, Rangers?
Well, they're spending a lot of money.
They're trying.
And they've tried before, and it hasn't worked.
Yeah. Damn.
I think with the Mets, though, too, Steve Cohen is not Bill DeWitt in the sense of he's not afraid to throw money around. And he's got a different type of money than any other owner in baseball. And I also think the fact that deGrom left, that means it's more likely that the Mets just throw crazy money at Justin Verlander to replace deGrom.
And because Cohen is a guy who's like, he's interacting with the fans all the time. And I know Mets fans that are furious that deGrom left, even though he hadn't pitched much in the last couple of years, but they're furious. So Verlander seems like a great overpay for 2 years and quick patch that up, right, for them. Yeah, I agree.
And I think with the Cardinals, the more you read and you get sources from, I'm talking other writers that are talking to executives, and you're hearing what people are looking for this year, it does seem like the Cardinals are in a good spot, even if they bring back Jose Quintana, which would make it 6 starters, but then you're more likely to flip. And I'm not even bringing up Dakota Hudson because he's more of a depth guy, a AAA or a bullpen guy, but I think he could be moved. And then you look at, again, what we talked about with the Blues, your expiring deals. So if the Cardinals bring back Quintana on, let's say, a 2-year deal, well, you have Jack Flaherty and Jordan Montgomery, and you have a year left on both of their deals. If the Cardinals feel like they won't be able to sign one of those guys long-term, i.e. Jack Flaherty, it probably makes sense to move a Flaherty or a Montgomery and re-sign Quintana. And then the other thing, again, from people much more plugged in than myself, are saying that basically the rule changes with the shift are making left-handed bats a big-time commodity, which is the reason that Jock Peterson, he was offered the qualifying offer, $19 million, and he took it. Jock Peterson's making $19 million. Now, it's 1 year, but I think that puts the Cardinals in a good spot because they have lefty bats or switch-hitting bats that folks want. Lars Nootbaar, Dylan Carlson, maybe even a guy like Alec Burleson, who other teams look at as a potential power lefty bat. Maybe somebody like that has much more value than we thought entering this winter.
Yeah.
Anytime, but you have that discussion, people say, oh, the Cardinals always overvalue their prospects. A buddy of mine brought up a guy on the Pirates, and then I saw someone on Twitter bring it up. So I looked, because I always say I want a guy that's a left-handed threat. And if I want a middle-of-the-order bat. And someone brought up Brian Reynolds from the Pirates. Now, in the division, you don't usually make deals. If you do, you have to overpay. But it's the Pirates. He wants out of Pittsburgh. So
don't blame him.
Right? And so the Pirates always make dumb deals anyway. But that's a guy who had 27 homers last year, 20 as a left-handed hitter, who can play center field and play it well. To me, he'd be like, when people say, well, who are you talking about? That would be a type of guy I would want. Unless they're going to go and spend money on a Trey Turner, which I don't see. They need a bat. They need a bat in the middle of the line.
Monster. I saw that a bunch of Rangers fans were tweeting over the weekend. I'm glad that we have DeGrom and Seager and Simeon. And now all that we need is more starting pitchers, more relief pitchers, a first baseman, a third baseman, and more outfielding. Kyle, that's a lot. That is a lot.